Hey, everybody, it's Tuomo here. This is a video of me reflecting on how my life has been here uh, after moving away from the city. And I haven't prepared for this video at all. I mean, I have these thoughts in my head, but I just wanted to just press the record button and see where it goes. So, as you can see from the title, it's been now I realized it's been 3 years since I moved and I came here. And short background for you: it's I used to work in this IT business field for a long time, and I had this dream of owning a house. It was maybe not so present for a long time, but it was there, and it started to grow and grow more and more, and so it was 21. The pandemic had been ongoing, and all the lockdowns and whatever we had, and those were tough times. And basically, I was already working remotely all the time. We didn't go to the office because it was denied, and so I was living in this quite quite a small apartment in the city, and or in the suburbs. So I live in Porvo area in Finland, and I used to live in Helsinki, the capital. And this is roughly 30-40 minute drive to the city, depending on where you want to go. But so, anyways, the pandemic happened. Everything happened there, and I had a relationship that ended, and then I had this dream, and everything just felt like uh, I kind of needed to do this move. And I started looking at houses outside the capital area, so to say. So my thinking was that because my friends and family live in this not in Helsinki necessarily, but on the around surrounding area, that I didn't want to go too far, because if for me, if I would have to drive 1 hour each way to just to go visit my family and see my friends, that would be too long. Uh, so yeah, so I thought about maybe 40 minutes or something like that. That would still be a drive that I could still do. And I knew if I had to go to the office, I could do that also. So I started looking at these old crappy houses. I went to see a few, but then even if I went, I felt that I went quite far from the city. The prices were still pretty high for me, as I didn't have that big of a budget. So I had a decent budget, I think, but not that big. And so I kind of sort of gave up on the idea slightly, because I thought that I can't afford it. So maybe I will just stay where I am. But then I looked at the uh, a little bit bigger apartments in the city, and they were like super expensive. And I realized this is something I can afford even less. And so, but then this area, Porvo area, it hadn't quite been on my radar for some reason. I thought it was too far away, but it really wasn't. And I just, when I came to see this place, I kind of knew that, hey, this is something that I could really turn into something great. And this house was in its original shape. I made a big renovation here, and the house is nearly finished now. It's pretty much finished. I have a quite a big property, so I can work on the yard, work on the outside. But in the end, everything worked out better than what I expected. Um, I was in a fortunate enough position that I had owned my apartment in the city for roughly 6 years, and the prices in the city had gone way up. But the prices here on the on the, what do you call this, like remote areas around the cities here, these were, I believe, quite stagnant. So I had some money saved. I sold the apartment for this crazy price. Then I bought this, and I made the renovations here because I had budget for that. And this wasn't that expensive because this was in original shape. It needed to basically a complete um, renovation to be done. So look, I know people have different uh, status in their life. They have different amounts of money. They have different jobs. Everybody has a different situation, and now people are kind of going back to the office, at least partly. I've heard about 2 day mandatory office days per week or 3 day mandatory office days per week, and it depends. But on the private sector, uh, it is well, one office day per week is still what I hear from some of my friends, and it is. I mean, if you have that, if you can work remotely, this is very much achievable. Like for me, I haven't been working for a while now. I have actually been unemployed for a year now. That was a decision I made by myself. I just get tired of the whole IT business industry, but that's another topic. And but maybe I want to talk about the how it has been from my experience, because I know there are a bunch of people, maybe, or also single people, but probably also couples thinking about leaving the city, because this was kind of like the big thing during the pandemic. And but I've heard from my circle of friends and friends that especially guys my age, I'm 40 years now, but I think if you're in the area, let's say you're like 35, 40, 45, somewhere, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but in that range, uh, and you're thinking about this, it's kind of a thing that kind of is there on the back of your mind. And but it's tough, right? It is just pulling the trigger is tough, and I understand that there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of uncertainty, because we're used to some sort of um, an area. We're used to the surroundings we have and the routines and everything. And even if you have this sort of a dream to get your own place, it's not easy. And it could have been that I talked myself out of this too, but I was maybe just fed up enough and a little bit crazy, add a little bit of craziness to the mix, and then you end up here in the middle of nowhere, basically. Um, so for me, first of all, I had enough money to do this, and my just everything felt like I just needed to go. So for me, it wasn't the decision to leave wasn't that hard. I just kind of wanted to do that. And then obviously there is going to be a lot of uh, problems and issues, especially when you're making a renovation. It's a lot of things that you don't know what to do, and there's uncertainty. And that is natural that it builds up stress, but you just have to, figure stuff out. I'm sorry, I should have wrote this down. I heard this saying that something like in a transformation, in the beginning it's very hard, and then it's chaotic in the middle, but very rewarding after that. And I think that really holds true, because for me these have been like I think these have been the best years of my life, the past 3 years, because it's like night and day. uh, I mean, being in that tiny apartment in the city, uh, the thought of going back there right now is actually very scary. Uh, it would be it would be horrible. Um, we humans adapt to everything. Probably you get used to that stuff, but I'm not sure about that, because now that I'm so used to living here, I have my own place, I have space, there's no noise, there are so many things that are so different. I don't know if I would adapt to the city life anymore. It was, well, maybe the biggest thing now that I think of it for me is that like what do you really have there? What can you really do there? You can't really do much. I mean, even if you own the apartment, there's not much you can do. I mean, you can change the wallpaper, but that's it basically. So here you have so much different options you can do, and that actually maybe is for me important, that I can do stuff. It kind of, I guess it's freedom in a way, that yeah, you have just the ability to work on different things on your house, on your property, and so on. And that's nice. That's very nice. But as I said, we all have different situation in our life. We all have different financial capabilities and so on. I have been very fortunate to be able to do this, to pull this off. I mean, I did spend all my money here basically, but it has been it has been more than worth the money spent, and it has been more than worth the hours I have spent here. If that makes any sense, it is. It's like a transformation. This period has been sort of a transformation period in my life, but it has been the best time of my life, at least my adult life, I believe. And um, maybe maybe to end this so it doesn't get too long, a few words of, I don't know, encouragement, or just ideas that I thought that somebody might find useful, is that because I've met these people, I've heard this the same dream that I had, that I know people have this, at least some people, that you don't, I think that you don't need to go all out, like, oh, I sell my city property and I buy something away from the city. You don't necessarily have to do that. And even I didn't go all out in a way, because I still live like in the vicinity. Is that a word? Sorry, I'm I'm losing my English here, but like, I have a half an hour drive to meet my family and friends, but I'm still way outside of the any city. And so I didn't buy like off-grid property in the northern Finland or anything like that. I'm still here in the kind of very close to everything. But so you can also just, if you're renting in the city, the rents are like super expensive right now. I mean, they are crazy. Um, it, it's bonkers. And if you have the ability to work remotely, just browse, just look for way outside of the city what's available there. You can get the same stuff for half the price, right? I mean, if you're renting like a nice, what do you, like a one bedroom or two bedroom apartment in the city, you can probably rent a whole house somewhere here, like where I live. It's the prices are absolutely crazy in the city. So just think about it. Like, you don't have to go all out. It doesn't have to be for the rest of your life, right? I think you can do like an easy mode. Just try it for 1 year. Even if you have to spend more, just rent a house for a year. Or if that's too expensive, rent like a, is that like a attached house, or what do you call that? Rent something like that. Buy a car if you don't have one, because most people in the city don't have a car. I didn't have one, because it kind of makes no sense, because it's expensive, and if you can use the public transport to go to work, for example, um, the value is just not there. But like, I made a video about this. I have this car that cost me $800. So you can get a car quite cheap. Sure, you need a couple of $100 every month for the gas and some maintenance here and there, but it's not that expensive actually. And like, because you're spending so much in the city just for the rent. Uh, and if you can work remotely, just try it for 1 year. You can rent a place for a year. Just ask somebody and tell them that, hey, I would, because obviously everybody wants to have a long-term rental, deal. The owner wants somebody to stay there for 10 years, so they don't have to, worry about it. To figure out find out a new tenant. But there are different options available always, and I think if you just ask around, I'm sure you would be surprised. There are all these empty or half empty houses here, like just laying around, and people have, I mean, just drive around here. There are all these, like, when you can't live in a shed or like a wood shed or anything like that, but there are these small buildings around here and there. You could probably rent something like that, and try it out. And but I think it needs to be more than just a month or two. I really think you need to experience life through the whole year, through all the different seasons, because here in Finland the seasons are very, very different. But like that you might find that you enjoy doing some chores, like if you have a wood heater or something like that. All that stuff is like super fun, and all that stuff, I think it's somewhere really built inside us, working a little bit to survive, or at least, get this illusion that you have to do something just to keep the place warm and so on. So you have to work some of these, like when the snow comes, there's a lot of uh, work to do with that, to keep the driveway open and so on. But i- i- if you're interested in living outside the city, but you're afraid or something like that, it's okay. Just I would encourage you to just try it for 1 year. If you possibly can, get a cheap car, get a place. If you're renting, it's easy to get rid of that. If you own the apartment, sell it, or then rent it out for a year, and even spend a little extra. It's it's going to be a new experience for you. Um that year is gonna be something you remember probably forever. And if you don't like it, then go back to the city. If you're renting now, you can always find a new apartment. If you own your place and you rent it out, just go back there. Or if you sell it, then, you know, who the hell knows? But for me, I own the apartment in the city. Well, the bank owns it, but I had a mortgage on it and so on. I just felt like I'm not owning anything. That's the thing. And that's something that now, after 3 years here, is, for me, it's very important. I really notice that now. I think about it, that this is my place. Um, this is something. It's like this is like a safe place for me. It's And whenever I visit the city, if I spend some time there now and then, not very often, when I come back here, it's yeah, sometimes, oh, I have to drive for 30 minutes now, and there is this extra effort you have to make, because that's the value or the advertisement for the city, so to say, that, oh, everything is so easy, everything is so close. Uh, and here everything is not so close. But man, there's something really amazing here. Uh, I often I visit my friends during the weekends. I come back home after after a roughly half an hour drive, and it's dark outside, and then I come back from to my yard. You can maybe see the stars outside because there's no light pollution here. It's totally quiet. I can see my house, and always at that moment I feel like, man, it's so great that I live here. It's so great. I have this place. I have this house. And always in those moments I feel very happy. I feel very satisfied. I feel very. There's just something here when you have your own place that I don't know. To me, it feels like it feels natural. It feels human. It just feels. It feels like it's something real. And for me, it was the correct choice. For some others, it might not be. But I know there are a lot of people thinking about it, and I've heard this for years now from some people. So if you're one of those, maybe think about how many years you're still gonna be thinking about it and not doing anything about it. Because yeah, there's maybe there's not uh, unlimited time to wait either. But yeah, I guess that's all I had for this one. 3 years, it's been great. It's been awesome, and I'm very fortunate, and I hope I can keep this place I have because it makes me a better person. Thank you. Bye bye.